In the endless dark of space, the galaxy was quiet. It had been quiet for almost 5,000 years. The great empires of alien races believed that humans, those strange, powerful beings from the old wars, were long extinct. No one had seen a human ship, signal, or colony in ages. The name humanity had become only a whisper, a myth told by old captains to scare young soldiers. But that silence was about to end. On the edge of the Varnis sector, a small alien research vessel named Corellis IV floated near a dead star. Its crew, made of insect-like beings called the Threxians, were scanning strange energy readings coming from a black void. The captain, Reltor, stared at his monitor. The signal was ancient, human frequency but twisted and weak, like a ghost calling from another time. "This can't be right," Reltor hissed, tapping his claw on the screen. "Human codes are forbidden frequencies. They no longer exist." The crew exchanged nervous glances. Every Threxian knew the stories, the human warships. They were said to burn planets, fight gods, and vanish into the void without leaving a trace. If a human ship was out there, then history itself was waking up. The scientist on board Vetra whispered, "Captain, the readings are growing stronger." "It's moving toward us." Reltor's hearts froze. The void in front of them began to twist. Space bent like liquid, and light itself vanished into a dark circle. A low hum filled the ship, deep enough to make their bones vibrate. The void opened. Out of the darkness, something massive began to appear. Black metal, ancient markings, and engines glowing a dull red. The ship was huge, larger than any Threxian dreadnought. Its hull was covered in battle scars, and one word was barely visible under layers of dust and time: Titanus. Reltor could not breathe. "That's a human warship." For a moment, the galaxy seemed to hold its breath. The Corellis IV tried to send a message to their command fleet, but the signal failed. Static filled the air, and then a deep voice, rough, cold, and human, echoed through their speakers. "This is the UNS Titanus. Identify yourselves." Everyone on the alien ship froze. The Threxian captain swallowed hard, his voice shaking. "This is Captain Reltor of the Threxian Exploration Fleet. We believed your kind extinct." A short silence. Then the human voice replied, colder than space itself. "Extinct? Not yet." Then the signal cut. The humans aboard Titanus watched from their silent bridge. Captain Elias Kane stood in front of a cracked console, wearing an old Navy uniform that had survived centuries. His face was calm, but his eyes burned with something fierce. Behind him, holograms flickered, showing fragments of history, destroyed colonies, last transmissions, and the fall of humanity. Kane turned to his AI companion, Nora, a soft voice in the silence. "How long has it been since the collapse?" "Approximately 4,812 years, the AI replied. "Human civilization lost, but our signal was received." Kane smiled faintly. "Then they still remember us. Good." Outside, alien ships began to appear from hyperspace, scouts, fighters, then battleships. The Threxian fleet had arrived to investigate the anomaly. Their commanders couldn't believe the reports. A human warship, alive, active, and armed. Admiral Vaughn of the Threxian Armada sent a message. "Unidentified vessel, you are entering restricted space. Power down your weapons and identify yourself." The Titanus did not respond. Its engines rumbled like thunder. Then slowly its forward cannons charged. On the bridge, Captain Kane gave one command: "Let them remember why they feared us." The sky exploded. Blue fire burst from the Titanus cannons, slicing through the Threxian fleet like paper. Dozens of ships vanished in seconds. The galaxy's most powerful armada was torn apart by a ghost from the past, and then silence again. The warship vanished into the void as suddenly as it appeared. Only wreckage floated where the Threxian fleet once stood. But one thing was certain now: humanity was not extinct. Humanity was back. Far away, in the halls of alien governments and war councils, the same message spread across the stars. The humans have returned, and everyone knew. The galaxy would never be the same again. The destruction of the Threxian fleet spread across the galaxy like wildfire. No one believed it at first. The news was impossible. A single ship from a dead species had destroyed an entire armada and then vanished into the void. The name human was now whispered again in fear and awe. In the High Council chamber of the Zorath Empire, alien leaders argued in panic. Their faces flickered in the light of holographic reports showing wreckage and energy readings. Grand Marshal Zeltor, a tall reptilian commander, slammed his claw on the table. "This cannot be true. The humans were wiped out. We burned their last colonies." But the scientist beside him, a quiet creature named Orin, replied calmly, "And yet, this warship exists. Our scans confirm ancient human technology. Fusion cannons, plasma drives, everything matches." The room fell silent. The galaxy had forgotten fear, but now it remembered. Orin continued, "If a human ship has survived, then maybe others did too. Maybe they were never gone, only waiting." Far away, on a lonely moon called Arcadia Prime, something ancient was waking up. Beneath the surface, deep inside old tunnels of forgotten metal, a faint blue light flickered. Dust fell from the ceiling as machines long dead began to hum again. A door opened slowly, releasing a gust of cold air that had not moved in thousands of years. Inside, rows of cryopods stood, silent tombs holding the last survivors of humanity. One by one they started to power up. Frost melted from the glass. Heart monitors began to beep. The first pod opened with a hiss. A woman gasped for air, coughing as her lungs remembered how to breathe. Her name was Commander Aria Holt, one of the last officers from the old human defense fleet. She fell to her knees, weak but alive. Her mind spun with confusion. How long have we slept?" she whispered. A voice answered from the shadows, calm, familiar, mechanical. 4,800 years, Commander Holt." Aria turned. A glowing blue sphere floated in the air. It was an AI core, designation Nora-02, twin system of the AI on the warship Titanus. "Nora?" Aria whispered. "Where's Captain Kane?" "Captain Kane is alive," the AI replied. "He awakened early. The Titanus has already re-entered the galaxy. Humanity's signal has been detected." Aria's heart pounded. "Then, it's time." Outside, the surface of Arcadia Prime shook as massive engines buried under the ground came to life. The dust cleared, and from beneath the moon's crust another ship began to rise, UNS Valkyrie, a sister warship to the Titanus. Its dark hull gleamed under the pale light, weapons ready, engines roaring like thunder. Meanwhile, in the deep space beyond, Captain Elias Kane stood on the Titanus bridge, watching thousands of alien transmissions flood the comms. Every empire was mobilizing fleets. They were terrified and preparing for war. "Status, Nora?" he asked. "All alien sectors are now aware of our return," the AI reported. "Some are calling for peace. Most are preparing for conflict." Kane gave a cold smile. "Typical." He stared out the window into the endless dark. "They think we're monsters. But they don't understand. We built this galaxy. We gave them light. And when we fell, they turned on us." For a long moment, no one spoke. Then, from the corner of the bridge, one of the crew, Lieutenant Ramos, stepped forward. "Sir, if they come for us again, what do we do?" Kane's eyes hardened. "Then we remind them who we are." Back on Arcadia Prime, Commander Aria Holt stepped onto the bridge of the Valkyrie for the first time in thousands of years. Dust covered every surface, but the ship was alive. Lights flickered on. Systems hummed. And when she touched the control panel, the ship recognized her immediately. "Welcome back, Commander Holt," Nora-02 said softly. Aria smiled faintly. "It's been a long sleep. Let's wake the others." Hundreds of other cryopods began to open. Human soldiers, engineers, pilots, the last of their kind, walked again. Their eyes were tired, their hearts heavy, but something inside them burned bright. Hope Aria turned to the main screen and saw the signal from the Titanus. Captain Kane appeared, older now, but still unbroken. "Commander Holt," he said, "you made it." "Always," she replied. "What's the plan?" Kane's voice was steady. "The galaxy forgot what humanity stood for. We will remind them. But first we find Earth." Aria's breath caught. "Earth? It's gone, sir." "It was destroyed." Kane shook his head. "No, not destroyed, hidden. I made sure of it." The call ended, leaving silence on the bridge. Aria stared at the stars ahead. Somewhere out there, humanity's home still existed. And now, after 5,000 years, they would go find it. But deep in the alien council chambers, the leaders of the galaxy were preparing something else. A massive alliance of all species. United by one fear, the return of humans. They called it the Containment Pact. and their first rule was simple. If humanity rises again, it must be ended forever. But they had forgotten one thing. Humans don't surrender. And in the dark between stars, the two warships Titanus and Valkyrie prepared to make their move. Humanity was awake. And the galaxy was about to remember what it means to fight them. The two warships Titanus and Valkyrie drifted through deep space, silent, dark, and invisible to most scanners. Humanity had awakened again, but their numbers were small. 2 ships, a few thousand survivors, and one impossible mission to find Earth. Captain Elias Kane stood at the front window of the Titanus, watching the endless stars. His reflection looked older than he remembered, scarred by time and war. The AI, Nora, appeared beside him in blue light. "Captain," she said softly, "the coordinates you mentioned, they lead to a restricted area. A black zone. No signals, no light, no data for thousands of years." Kane nodded slowly. "That's the point. That's where we hit it." The crew behind him exchanged confused glances. Lieutenant Ramos finally asked, "Sir, what do you mean by hit it? You can't hide a whole planet." Kane turned, his eyes calm but cold. "We did. During the final war, when the alien coalition came for Earth, humanity built something called Project Aegis. It was our last defense. A planetary cloaking system strong enough to erase Earth from the galaxy's sensors." The crew went silent. "So Earth didn't die," Ramos whispered. Kane shook his head. "No, it vanished." Meanwhile, aboard the Valkyrie, Commander Aria Holt was training her newly awakened soldiers. Many were still weak, but their spirits burned bright. They watched old recordings, videos of cities, oceans, laughter, reminders of what they were fighting for. Aria walked among them, speaking with a firm voice. "We are not ghosts. We are humanity. We are what the galaxy fears, not because we destroy, but because we survive." Her words echoed through the ship. Suddenly, Nora 02 interrupted. "Commander Holt, we've received a signal from the Titanus. Captain Kane wants both ships to rendezvous near the edge of the Orion Rift." Aria frowned. "The Rift? That region is unstable. Gravity storms, plasma fields." Nora 02 replied, "Exactly. It's the perfect hiding place for a lost world." Hours later, both ships entered the rift. Lightning storms danced across the void. Magnetic waves distorted sensors. It was a graveyard of old ships, silent wrecks from forgotten wars. As they flew deeper, the darkness grew thicker until even the stars disappeared. Kane stood on the bridge, eyes fixed on the readings. "We're close," he whispered. "Activate long-range scanners." The screen flickered, then showed a faint energy signature, circular, steady, and massive. "That's not a ship," Nora said. "That's a shield." Moments later, the void around them shimmered like a mirage. The darkness cracked apart, and there it was, a planet. Blue, green, and beautiful. Earth, the crew gasped. Some cried. For thousands of years they had dreamed of this sight, their true home alive and shining in the middle of the void. Ramos whispered, "It's real. We're home." But Kane's face didn't relax. "Something's wrong," he said quietly. "Where are the signals?" "The cities, the satellites. They moved closer." The planet was intact but silent. No human transmissions, no signs of life. Just clouds and empty continents. Aria's voice came through the comms from the Valkyrie. "It looks deserted." Kane clenched his fists. "No, it's not. Earth doesn't die that easily." He ordered a landing team. Aria volunteered immediately. Soon, shuttles from both warships descended through Earth's atmosphere. As they entered the skies, the soldiers stared out the windows in silence. Forests, mountains, oceans, everything was there, untouched by time. But there were no lights, no movement. It was like a museum frozen in time. They landed near what was once New York City. The ruins of tall buildings stood half-buried under vines. Nature had taken everything back. Aria stepped onto the ground, her boots sinking into soft earth. She looked around. It's beautiful, but empty. As the team spread out, Nora 02's voice came through her comm. "Commander, I'm detecting something underground. Deep energy signatures, human tech still active." Aria led the soldiers toward the signal. They found a cracked elevator shaft leading below the city. After a long descent, They reached a massive metal door marked with the faded emblem of the United Nations Defense Command. She brushed off the dust and read the words carved beneath. "For those who survive us, we will rise again." The door opened slowly, revealing a chamber full of stasis pods. Hundreds of them, and they were not empty. Inside each one lay a sleeping human, frozen but alive. Arya gasped. "They're still here," Nora's voice echoed in her earpiece. "Commander, we found them. The last generation." Above the surface, Captain Kane watched from the Titanus as the readings came in. His voice trembled slightly. So the plan worked. Earth protected her children, but their moment of hope didn't last long. Alarms blared across both ships. Nora's voice turned sharp. "Captain, multiple warp signatures approaching. Alien fleets, hundreds of ships. The containment pact has found us." Kane's eyes darkened. "They followed us through the rift." He looked down at Earth, then back at the stars where alien warships appeared like shining knives. "Ready all weapons," he ordered. "Protect the planet at all costs." Arya's voice came through the comm, steady and fierce. "We'll hold the ground. You hold the skies." Kane nodded slowly. "Then let's show them what humanity truly means." The engines of the Titanus roared to life. The Valkyrie rose beside it. Together, the two ancient warships turned toward the incoming alien armada. And as the first shots of light crossed the void, one truth became clear. Earth was no longer lost. Humanity was home again, and this time, they were ready to fight for it. The void above Earth was burning. Hundreds of alien warships filled the sky, their weapons glowing bright as they surrounded the two human vessels. The containment pact had come with everything they had. Fleets from every empire, thousands of guns aimed at one planet. On the bridge of the Titanus, Captain Elias Kane watched the tactical screen. The red dots of enemy ships stretched across the entire horizon. His crew waited silently for his command. Kane took a slow breath. "They think we'll run." "They think we're afraid." He turned to his officers, his eyes cold and steady. "They forgot what it means to be human." Nora's voice filled the room. "Captain, all weapon systems are online. The Valkyrie reports readiness. Commander Holt requests fire coordination." "Tell her," Kane said, "we fight as one." Outside, the Valkyrie rose through the clouds, joining the Titanus. The two ancient warships glowed like silver ghosts against the darkness. Their cannons charged, their shields hummed, and their engines flared bright blue. Then came the first strike. The alien fleets opened fire, waves of plasma lighting up the void. Explosions filled the sky as the human ships were hit again and again. But the Titanus didn't fall. Its armor, made from the lost alloy of the old Earth, absorbed the storm. "Return fire," Kane commanded. The response was thunder. Blue beams and railgun slugs ripped through the alien lines. Whole squadrons vanished in bursts of light. The Valkyrie unleashed a storm of missiles, each guided by ancient AI targeting systems, too fast for alien sensors to track. In moments, the sky became chaos and fire, metal and death, but the humans were still outnumbered. For every alien ship destroyed, 10 more appeared. The Containment Pact's capital dreadnoughts moved in, surrounding Earth like predators. On the Valkyrie, Commander Arya Holt stood at the command table. "We can't hold forever," she said. "We need a plan." Her AI, Nora-02, replied calmly. "There is one option: activate the planetary defense grid." Arya frowned. "That's impossible. It's been offline for thousands of years." "Not anymore," said Nora-02. "I can link the ship's core reactor to the old system. It will drain most of our power. But it might wake Earth's defenses." Arya nodded without hesitation. "Do it." Below, deep beneath the surface of Earth, the ancient systems began to stir. Towers hidden under oceans and mountains began to glow. Old satellites came alive, aligning in orbit. From the ruins of the old world, something powerful began to rise. Humanity's final weapon, the Aegis defense grid. Massive energy beams shot upward, striking alien ships with deadly precision. In seconds, the balance changed. The aliens realized too late. The planet itself was fighting back. On the Titanus, Kane saw the readings and smiled faintly. "You did it, Arya." But the enemy was not done. The alien flagship, a monstrous vessel 10 times larger than the Titanus, moved forward. It was the Vaughn Dominion, commanded by Grand Marshal Zeltor himself, the same creature who once led the war to wipe out humanity. He appeared on the holoscreen, his reptilian eyes burning with rage. "Human," he roared. "You were supposed to be extinct." Kane looked at him calmly. "Extinction doesn't suit us." Zeltor bared his teeth. "You think you can fight the entire galaxy?" "You are alone!" Kane's expression didn't change. "We were always alone. That's why we're dangerous." He cut the channel and ordered, "All power to main cannon." The Titanus's forward weapon, the Helios beam, began to charge. The entire ship shook as energy gathered in its core. The alien flagship fired all guns at once, trying to destroy it before it could fire. Explosions tore across the Titanus's hull. Fires burned. Systems failed, but Kane didn't stop. "Hold it!" he shouted. "Just a few more seconds." Nora's voice came through, flickering. "Power at maximum. Firing sequence ready." "Do it," Kane said. The ship's front cannon released a beam brighter than the sun. It cut through the alien flagship in a single strike, splitting it in half. The explosion lit up the void, a burning reminder of what humans could do when pushed to the edge. The sky above Earth burned like a dying sun. The second wave of the containment pact had arrived, larger, faster, deadlier. Thousands of alien ships filled the blackness, forming a wall of metal and fire around the blue planet. Humanity stood at the center. 2 ships, 1 planet, and a single promise: they would not fall again. On the bridge of the Titanus, Captain Elias Kane watched the swarm of enemy vessels closing in. His crew moved fast, shouting orders and checking systems. The lights flickered as the old ship groaned under pressure. "Status report," Kane shouted. Lieutenant Ramos replied, "Shields at 40%. Hull damage on decks 4 through 7. "We can't take another direct hit." Nora's calm voice echoed, "Captain, enemy fleets are locking plasma torpedoes. We are heavily outnumbered." Kane clenched his jaw. "Good. Then they can stop counting when we're done." The Titanus turned sharply, its massive cannons firing in all directions. Every blast tore through alien formations, breaking ships apart. But for every one destroyed, more appeared. The void became a sea of explosions. Meanwhile, on the Valkyrie, Commander Aria Holt fought to keep her ship flying. Fires burned in the corridors. Smoke filled the control room, and her crew worked with blood on their faces. "Commander," shouted her pilot, "our shields are collapsing." Aria wiped the sweat from her forehead. "Divert power from the engines to the defense grid. Keep those bastards off our world." The Valkyrie dove through the chaos, shooting down enemy cruisers as it passed. Aria's voice came through the comm, reaching Kane on the Titanus. "Elias, they're pushing us back. We can't hold them forever." Kane's eyes narrowed. "We don't need forever. We just need enough time." "Time for what?" she asked. "For the planet to wake up," Kane replied. Before Aria could answer, Nora interrupted. "Captain, incoming signal. It's coming from Earth's surface." Kane turned. "Put it through." A crackling voice filled the bridge, human, faint but real. "This is Commander Lian Chen, Ground Facility Alpha. We've reactivated the main core. The Aegis grid is ready, but it needs one thing: a power source strong enough to ignite it." Kane understood immediately. He looked at the massive reactor of the Titanus, glowing behind reinforced glass. It was ancient, but powerful enough to light a planet. Aria's voice came over the comm, low and heavy. "You're not thinking what I think you're thinking." Kane didn't answer. Ramos stepped forward. "Sir, if we use the main reactor to power the Aegis grid, the ship won't survive." Kane turned slowly, his voice calm. "The Titanus was built to protect Earth. If that's how it ends, then that's what we'll do." For a moment, silence filled the bridge. The crew looked at their captain, not with fear but pride. They all understood what it meant. Humanity's survival came first. Nora spoke softly, her voice almost human. "Elias, if you do this, your life signs will not survive the overload." Kane smiled faintly. "I've already lived longer than I should." He looked out the window at the planet below and whispered, "There's time to finish what we started." He opened the comm to Aria. "Aria, get the Valkyrie out of the blast range." Her voice shook. "No, Elias, don't do this. We can find another way." "There is no other way," he said quietly. "You'll lead what's left of us. Humanity will need a commander." "That's you." Aria's eyes filled with tears, but she nodded. "Then make it count, old man." Kane smiled one last time. "Always." He turned to his crew. "All hands evacuate to escape pods." "That's an order." "They didn't move." Ramos spoke softly. "Captain, we started this together." "We end it together." Kane looked at them, then nodded. Then let's make history one last time. As the Valkyrie pulled away, the Titanus's reactor began to glow brighter, energy building until the entire ship shook. Outside, the alien fleets closed in, unaware of what was coming. Nora's voice whispered, "Reactor at 90%. Connection to Earth's core complete." Kane's hand hovered over the control switch. "Nora, it's been an honor." "The honor was mine, Captain," she replied softly. He pressed the switch. The Titanus erupted in light. A wave of pure energy exploded outward, racing through space and into the planet below. The Aegis grid roared to life, massive blue shields expanding around Earth, wrapping the planet in a sphere of light. Every alien ship caught within range was vaporized instantly. From the Valkyrie, Arya and her crew watched in silence as the Titanus vanished in the explosion, a burning star born from sacrifice. The wave cleared, leaving only the glowing shield around Earth. The alien fleets were gone. The sky was quiet. Arya whispered, "He did it." The bridge was silent. No one spoke. Every heart on the Valkyrie felt the weight of what had just happened. Humanity had survived, but the Titanus and Captain Elias Kane were gone. Nora 02 spoke softly. "Energy reading stable. Earth is protected. The Aegis grid is active." Arya took a deep breath and stood tall. "Then we hold this world, for him, for everyone who came before us." Outside, the shield around Earth shimmered like a second sun, bright and strong. Humanity was alive again, not as conquerors, but as survivors. And somewhere in the endless dark, a faint human voice echoed through the static. Kane's final message, recorded in the ship's last moments. "This is Captain Elias Kane of the Titanus. To any human who still lives, Earth stands. Come home. The war was over." The sky above Earth was quiet once again. No gunfire, no explosions, only the soft hum of the Aegis shield glowing around the planet like a protective sun. For the first time in thousands of years, humanity was safe. From orbit, the Valkyrie floated in silence. The ship was damaged, blackened from battle, but still alive. Inside, Commander Arya Holt stood on the bridge, staring at the empty space where the Titanus had once been. No one spoke. Every soldier, every technician, every survivor on the ship felt the same hollow ache. Captain Elias Kane was gone, the man who had brought them home. Nora 02 broke the silence. "Commander Holt, the shield is stable. Earth's atmosphere and biosphere are regenerating. Life is returning." Arya nodded slowly. "He did it. He really did it." Down on Earth's surface, the survivors of old stasis pods began to wake. They stepped out into the sunlight, blinking, breathing real air for the first time in thousands of years. The world was quiet, green forests growing through the ruins of old cities, rivers flowing where streets once stood. Nature had healed. Arya landed with a small crew near the ruins of old New York. She looked up at the remains of skyscrapers wrapped in vines. "We used to call this city the heart of Earth," she whispered. "Now it's the seed of a new beginning." The survivors began building shelters, setting up energy towers and reconnecting old systems. From orbit, the Valkyrie sent down supplies and drones to help rebuild. But even in peace, questions remained. What had truly happened to Earth after the fall? How did Kane know it still existed? Days later, Nora 02 discovered something hidden deep within the Titanus's final transmission, a data packet, encrypted with Kane's personal code. "Commander," said Nora 02, "I found something." Arya frowned. "What is it?" "It's a message from Captain Kane, marked for you." Her heart skipped a beat. "Play it." The hologram flickered to life. Kane's image appeared, tired but calm, standing in the burning light of his ship's final moments. "Arya, if you're seeing this, then the Titanus is gone. I knew it would end this way. But don't mourn me. This was always the plan. Humanity's survival required a sacrifice. I gave the power, but you must give the purpose." Arya's eyes filled with tears. The hologram continued, "I never told you the full truth. Project Aegis was not only a shield, it was also a signal, a beacon that can reach across galaxies. When it activates, it will send one message to every human ship still out there in the void. It will call them home." The message ended. Arya stood frozen, realizing what it meant. "Commander," said Nora 02, "the beacon is already transmitting. Far beyond the solar system, in forgotten corners of space, Old human colonies heard the signal. A voice calling across the stars. Earth stands. Come home. In the farthest reaches, broken human ships turned toward the light. Survivors, hidden, scattered, and forgotten, began their long journey back. Humanity was not 2 ships anymore. It was thousands awakening one by one. Months passed. Cities began to rise again. Forests and oceans filled with life. Children played under the open sky. For the first time in 5,000 years, Earth lived not as a grave, but as a home. On a quiet night, Arya stood on a hill overlooking the ruins of the old world. The stars shone bright above her. The Valkyrie floated like a silent guardian in orbit. Nora 02 appeared beside her in blue light. Commander, multiple human fleets are approaching from outer sectors. The beacon worked. They're coming home. Arya smiled softly. He knew this would happen. Yes, said Nora. He always believed humanity could rise again. Arya looked at the stars. Then we'll honor him. We'll rebuild the Earth he died to protect. And this time, we'll do it right. She paused, then whispered, Elias, we're home. The wind blew through the ruins, gentle and calm. Far away, beyond the edge of the solar system, one last light appeared, a faint signal, deep in the void. It was small, almost invisible, but when Nora focused her senses, she froze. Commander, I'm detecting something strange. What is it? Arya asked. Nora's voice grew soft. It's the Titanus, or what's left of it. The ship's reactor is still alive. There's energy and a heartbeat. Arya's eyes widened. A heartbeat? That's impossible.